Hello and welcome to another Lord of the Rings Online preview video with me, Balthelion, and today we're going to be having a look at the Grey Mountains region, which is the second region that is coming as part of Update 23, where dragons dwell. So at the moment we are still in Northern Mirkwood, Erin Lascallon. We're in the kind of northern central area over here, just north of Ravenhill. And this is where the pathway into the new region starts from. Now, I don't know if they're going to make it a bit clearer on the map, because it's very hard to know that this is here beyond some text at the top that makes you think it's got to be around here somewhere. So you basically have to go past Ravenhill and you're in this kind of like valley floor down the bottom here. You don't go up the mountain to where the hidden door into the back of Erebor is, because that is a one-way path. It's got a dead end at the end. But behind Ravenhill, in this little valley here, and the northwestern part, which is where we're stood now, we have this road which is going to extend into the distance and take us to the new region. Now, something I've noticed with a lot of the dwarven pillars that we've seen in both the Iron Hills and the Grey Mountains, and I'm not sure if this is intentional or not, but the kind of like designs on these seem to glow a little bit. I don't know if it's just me. Or whether, you know, they could have like a light dusting of mithril or some kind of not mithril, what's the word? The moon writing stuff that glows in the moonlight. Oh, there's a little birdie flying around up there. But it is quite interesting, and we're going to see as we go further into this anyway. So just like the Iron Hills, the road is kind of like signposted by these little dwarven markers, just so you can stay on the road and follow where you're going. But yeah, it does seem like this kind of like has a bit of a glow to it, doesn't it? Just as we're going past all these. So it will be quite a long winding road. I'm not sure if we're going to have quests in this kind of like little intro area. But if we just bring up the map, you see there's this long canyon road going up to the first camp. And in the distance we're going to have this large gated structure, which is the south gate into the region. And this is reasonably elaborate. I've gone slightly off the road cutting the corner here, but it should be okay. So as we approach this, we'll get to have a better look. So let's just stop over here. So yeah, we have this huge gate which seems to have fallen into a bit of ruin at the moment. You can see that this pillar's been chopped in half. So presumably there would have been some kind of wall next to the gate. Otherwise, having a gate with no walls either side where you can just walk around is a bit pointless. But it is kind of a posh and elaborate gate. We can see on this side again, we've got some more of these pillars, but these ones have a bit more of like a goldish writing. But they do still seem to glow a little bit. So we're going to carry on up this path then, because there's nothing particularly of interest until we get to the first camp. Okay, so we're here now at a place called Dhamma Guru, which is the first encampment just off the road as we head into the new region. And this is a bit of a camp. There's no permanent structures here. The dwarves have literally just got a camp set up. So this is obviously going to be a reasonable questing hub. Now, something I have noticed, in the background over here, we do have bounties, like we've had in a couple of previous regions. So you're going to have some bounty quests that you can do, which should be repeatable, one would imagine. We can probably have a look and find out. Oh no, they could be solo, one-off quests rather than repeatables, but you can do those. And the other thing of note here is that we've got this guy, this generic NPC that's called a Zelruka dwarf. And I'm not entirely sure what Zelruka is, or if there is some precedent in lore, or if this is something that has been made up. But there's nowhere on the map that is called Zelruka dwarf. It's called Zelruka that the dwarf would come from, rather. And I'm not aware of any like dwarven groups that are known as the Zelruka, so I'd assume it's a place rather than a people. But yeah, so obviously we're going to have quite a few quest NPCs around here. We've got some more bounties near the entrance, task board, etc. But in the distance, I'm not sure if we can see it from here. Probably not, because this is going to be in the way. But we can see over in the distance, if I get up on the hill a bit. Yeah, let's go climb over here. As we can see a bit further into the region, we can see some elaborate ruins on a hill over there. There we go. So we might end up going over there in a second. The mobs around here, we've seen some laugh bears. So if you remember those evil bears from from Eastern Rohan. We've got obviously some hawks here. We've had some worms. There's probably going to be quite a lot of worms and drakes, particularly as we go into the northeastern part where the Withered Heath is, because that's where a lot of the history surrounding dragons and worms, and that's their kind of like native lands, and they came down off the Withered Heath and generally made the dwarves have a bad day. But yeah, so we're going to head a bit further into the region then and see what we find. So we've actually not gone too far actually away from Dhamma Guru, and we can see down in this little swamp down here there is the remains of what was a large dragon, though not quite as large as Smaug or Drygok. But we can head down here. We can see it is pretty big, and it could probably have swallowed us as a hobbit as one whole snack. So as with the previous region, the new ore is going to be here. So you can have the Ironfold Skarn for tier 12 crafting, the Thornholt branches for your wood, etc. All the new crafting mats, which if you haven't seen the previous video, since there's an ore node right next to me, let's just zoom in on this. It's this kind of like funky one with these purple crystals, which is going too far, which is an interesting looking cosmetic to say the least. But obviously you can grab that, you can refine it, process it to your heart's content. So if I carry on this way then, so we're heading up north. We're going to go this way first, through the Worm Gap and into the Withered Heath, where presumably we can also access the Anvil and maybe Winterstiff as well. We'll see. So we've got a goat here actually, Grey Mountain Ram, which is all new appearance. This is quite an interesting looking fellow. Let's just get off the horse, otherwise I'm going to keep running past it. Yeah, all new appearance, that one. That does look pretty cool. Don't know what you guys think, but it certainly looks a bit more up to date and impressive than say some of the bog standard goat mounts we've had in the game way back, you know, in the early days of Moria and the like. Right, so we've got some hearts. I've got a couple of cold drakes, which is probably not to be. We've got the bigger ones as well. There we go. As I say, this is probably going to be expected, given that this is where we're going now, into the source of all the drakes. Okay, there's a laugh bear in the distance. Seems to be pretty much the same appearance as it used to have in East Rohan. These cold drakes do have quite a bit of health as well. But something else you probably need to bear in mind as well with the new update, they've changed a lot of the statistics to do with both players, NPCs, enemies, health and damage calculations. So when you log on to the game with your existing characters after the upgrade, you're probably going to notice that their health bars have gone down. In my case, it's not too bad. I think my health and live was somewhere in the low 80s, so I've probably lost maybe like 10k morale, which is not much in the scheme of things when you understand what they're doing, but they've kind of halved damage basically. As a rough calculation, it's about half. So whereas before you could cap your maximum bonus damage at plus 4,000%, they've changed it to now cap at plus 200%. So generally things are doing a lot less damage, and therefore you need less health to defend against that damage. Otherwise it will take twice as long to kill things, it takes twice as long for you to kill mobs if they've got more morale, and it takes twice as long for them to kill you. So it's just to stop the stat bloat that's been going on for a while now and make the numbers a bit more reasonable. So if you're hoping to do some very large damage hits after the update goes live, you're probably going to be disappointed, because you're probably going to be hitting a lot lower. It will still take you the same time to kill the mobs, if not quicker, because you know your damage might be down, but so is their health bars, so it will still take about the same sort of time. Right, so we are now into this area here where we've got the Anvil. So in the distance, all this massive glacier, that's the Anvil to the north, and to the east we have the Withered Heath, which will be this region here. So far we've got some suspicious unnatural ice we can use for a quest, and obviously we've got an area bestowed quest to defeat gold drakes and frost grims. So frost grims also going to be in this region. So we've got some nice geysers over here, squirting in the distance. So what have we got? Oh, Tatsuo's a plough. I was going to say, what's this? Now I want to walk over one of these and see if it's actually going to kill me or something. Assuming you can even get on top of it in the first place. Probably not, knowing my luck. So we've got some eggs in the distance I can see over there. I've probably got myself stuck now. Oh well, let's keep on running. So this area is 117, 120, some of these mobs. So I'm not sure what the quest progression is going to be, which areas you're going to go to first. But storyline-wise, it might make more sense if this is one of the later bits, maybe? Because we've been dealing with people kind of like manipulating dragons and stuff. What's that? We've got some forward soil we can interact with. Let's see if I can mount back up. So about halfway through the region. Come on, I think I got mounted and then immediately dismounted. Okay, fine. Let's go into stealth. If you're not going to drop aggro, I'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. So if we carry on going east then, let's see if we can find something a bit more interesting in this direction. Because presumably we're going to have no dwarves over here. Dwarves would not want to live surrounded by all these dragons with the issues they have with them. As well, I hope you can go over across onto the glacier, but it seems to have some sort of river blocking the way across. Let's just mount up again. So is that just shooting a huge jet? Yeah, I was going to say, I thought I could have hit something. Oh, there we go. That's a big dragon there, isn't it? A big dragon corpse. So let's see if we can get across this river then onto the anvil proper. Okay, so I've been riding around for a while and I haven't seen any obvious way that we can actually get up there, but I'm sure there's probably a way we can either get on top of the glacier or underneath it. There's a couple of passageways that do seem to be blocked off. But as we can see, there's loads, absolutely loads of dragon bones and corpses everywhere in this region. I'm going to have to kill one of you guys because you're irritating me with the amount of aggro you're causing me. But yeah, so far, we've only got cold drakes over here. We haven't actually had any normal drakes or dragonettes anywhere in this region. So I'm not sure if there'll be other ones elsewhere, or whether literally everything that's going to be over here is going to be a cold variant of a drake. So we're going to head further west now then. I'm not sure how you get up to Winterstiff. We might have to find out, because I don't think it's this way, because I can't see any way up. So we're going to head westwards over to this central region next, I think. Okay, so we're back then, and we're now on top of the hill over near Dhamma Guru, which is called Bizarre Atrad, the Vale Watch, where I'm being viciously mauled by a bunch of hawks, including one called Kingclaw, which I assume is a bounty. That didn't sound like a hawk. It sounded like a dragon. I don't know whether it's the one downstairs that's fighting the ram at the moment, where it seems to be winning quite hard. But a lot of the mobs seem to be fighting. A lot of the like the worms and that kind of stuff seem to be attacking foxes and things like that as well. Now there is a treasure cache up here that I've seen. There we go. So bear that in mind if you're looking for those in the new region. But I didn't actually see any in the Iron Hills, but I assume they are in the Iron Hills as well. So we're going to carry on then. I assume we'll probably get a quest up here to come and clean out the hawk population. That'd seem a logical explanation. So we're going to head westwards now and head over to the next encampment over here, which is Scarhound. Oh god, that was impressive. Okay, so I took a little tumble off a cliff there, and we've ended up rezzing back in the Downlands. So I'm not sure if that's an indicator of that is literally the closest res circle as the crow flies, so to speak, or whether that's a bit of a bug and we should have respawned somewhere in this region, given that I died over here. So if it is the closest geographically, and it kind of implies that pretty much the whole map doesn't have a red circle unless it's on the very top or the very western shores. which seems unlikely, so maybe that is a bug and that won't go live. But if you do die somewhere around here due to misadventure or dying to the mobs, just bear that in mind. It could be quite a long run backwards. Okay, so we've gone a little bit further west now, and at the moment we're looking slightly east. That's the hill we were at previously. As we can see, we've got a dwarf marker here that we can pick up as well, so we're going to have those in the new region. But we're just on this hill here where we have a bit of a T-junction where we can head north into Stormwall or west into Scarhout. So if we just turn the camera around, we can see how awesome this place looks. So this is there. Looking south, we've got a little valley down there, but over here we have a huge dwarven settlement, and I do really like the style and architecture of this place with all these like long spires and that. It does look pretty cool when you're riding up into this place. The main entrance is to the south, just down over there. Obviously, you can see you can ride into here, and there's a lot of verticality. I don't think you can really get up the top bit. We'll have a look in a second though. But like Minas Tirith, there's kind of like a lot of verticality to the structures as it kind of works its way up the hillside, which is pretty cool. And over to the north here, we can see Stormwall over in the distance there, which again looks like some dwarven architecture fortifying something over there. But there seems to be a broken bridge to access it, so maybe we can't actually get in there. But we'll have to take a closer look. Okay, so we're on the road down into the Stormwall, and obviously we can see that the dwarves have not fared too well, since there's a dead one over there, and a few more dead ones around. Now there's a collapsed staircase, and we do have fire drakes, so it's not just going to be cold drakes in this region. And we seem to, I don't know if they've changed something with the dismounting aspect, but you seem to get dismounted off your war steeds a lot easier now. So I don't know if they've applied the same rule where if you get critically hit you get dismounted. It does feel that way. So we can probably not actually get entirely across here. And I'm probably going to end up falling off if I go too far. But we do seem to have a passageway over to the northeast. There's a drake casually just sat on top of there lording it over everything. But yeah, we can see this place has seen better days. It seems to be ruined. We've got a massive screech of a dragon somewhere. I don't know where that's coming from, but let's see if we can go a bit further up to the northeast. See, there's you can just about see on here, there should be a passageway going up here, and then it goes left and right. We'll soon find out. But it may be we can have a bit of a back road into Stormwall. But I would imagine there's probably going to be no friendly NPCs inside here. So yeah, we can go left. It's going to take us down though. I'm not sure if this is quite where we want to be going, or whether this will just lend us, yeah, back to where we started. So maybe we can't actually get inside here unless there's a secret entrance somewhere. Let's just see if we can find anything under the bridge, because the bridge would have been the main entrance. No, just some cold drakes. But I presume if it's an area on the map and it has got a name, we should be able to get in there somehow anyway. But we still need to find a way over to Frumfall and Winterstitch, which there's got to be a way. So I don't know if you can go through. Oh, hello, Clipperdeep's got a interior map. Interesting. We'll have to have a look at that then. And now we've been ganked, so I'm going to kill this guy and then we'll head off into the nearest town. Okay, so I might be onto something. So I've actually found that if you, from the valley where the broken bridge is, south of Stormwall, you can actually go left and climb up the hill, and it seems to be leading us northwest down this passageway. And it does look promising. It might actually take us somewhere. Or maybe it will just lead us around where we were. Let's see, we go up here. It doesn't help that we're getting ganked everywhere we go as well. This does seem to be inside though. This is definitely inside now. So can we get onto that area? Do we go? Can we go around? Oh, there we go. Discovery Stormwall. Interesting. You've discovered the entrance to Stormwall. And we have obviously a load of quests that have now popped up for us. So yeah, this is how we get inside then. So if I can just set on auto run before I get viciously ganked. So yeah, as you come in here where you got the broken bridge, instead of going right where we went originally, got stuck into a loop. That loop was just basically to get us out. If you fall in that canyon, you can go to the east and get back up to where you start. But from there, you want to go to the west side, up around here, and you can cross around from the west. We're going to get viciously mauled, I think. So we might need to flop in a second. We've got salamanders as well as drakes, just to round out the dragon kind families. So we've got claw mark writing. So I mean, dragons are intelligent. They can talk. Oh, don't tell me I haven't reset that. Oh god, go away! I'm trying to record. I don't want to die. Otherwise, we're going to have to spend a long time getting back. So we can interact that to start a quest, where probably it's just going to tell us that we can pick up a quest. So let's just get rid of these. So record writing, you can get some lost lore about Smaug himself, which would be interesting. So you can have those to collect and put inside your housing spaces as a housing decoration as well. So let's see where we can go inside here then. So obviously the dragons have taken over this place. Drakeling's probably going to have an aura if I get too close to it, so we probably want to avoid him, otherwise he'll drag us out of stealth. Have a bit of a deeper look. So we're kind of inside now, but obviously the dragons have completely laid waste to the roof so that they could get in. So I don't know if we're going to find out that Smaug himself did this back in the day, or whether it's just other great dragons or dragons in general that laid waste to this place. But obviously this was a big dwarven fortress back in the day, and has since fallen on hard times, shall we say. Yeah, I don't know if we can get out the back into any of the other regions we haven't been to yet. Oh, there we go. I've been decloaked due to a fire aura. So it seems we can't go any further backwards. We'll have to see if we can get anywhere else. Now the problem is I can't actually flop anymore, so if I die, I'm going to die for good. So yeah, it seems we can't get any further around here, so I'm probably going to end up dying and going back to town in a second. We'll keep going as long as we can. Avoid our way around here. So yeah, it just seems like this is a main central hall. There we go, I've died. So we can probably have a free res for now. Just see if we can find anywhere else of interest. But yeah, we've got a couple of quests in here. It's probably going to involve killing things, retrieving things, and then going back to the dwarves. We do have this epic music as well playing that's started playing now. This was playing earlier actually between bits that I was recording. We can go east over here. I don't think we can get through anywhere, so I think this is like a dead end, this area. So I assume Winterstitch must be via the Anvil and Thrumfall must be via Glimmerdeep, or at least the canyon where Glimmerdeep is, since that's the only way of accessing those regions that makes sense at the moment. So I think we're going to head back outside then and go over to Skarhald. Okay, so we're now at the entrance to Skarhald itself. So as we can see, we've got some nice blue and gold architecture, which is quite funky. That seems to be some sort of stone that they've got there. So there is a milestone just outside before you go in, just heading over that ridge there. I've also got a task board here. So if we just mount up, we'll have a little wander through the city really. So this seems to be the capital area of the Grey Mountains region. Got some more of these Zelruka dwarves. So got some quests that can be bestowed. Complete each of the major storylines for the dwarf holds. Interesting. So there's going to be several different storylines that implies. Dwarven reflecting pool in the distance over there. A couple of quest givers to our northwest. We have the barterer for the region. We should probably have a look at his wares. A quartermaster who deals in embers and of enchantment and lockboxes. Gear and cosmetics for level 116 to 120. That's a very specific job title. So what has he got in here then? So he's got essences and other stuff. Rare coffers of heroic essences. So these are the embers of enchantment. They replace what are currently ashes of enchantment. So ashes of enchantment, when we get the new region, will become motes of enchantment. Motes of enchantment are used for anything that is not endgame region. So in our case, anything up to level 115. Whereas Embers of Enchantment will always be for the newest content. So in our case, level 115 to 120. So anything you've got currently, any ashes will be converted to motes. Motes can be used to barter for gear or cosmetics that are not level cap, and embers will be used for the new stuff. And you can use another type of currency, the name of which I can't think of off the top of my head. Figments of Splendor or something like that, which is used to barter for cosmetics, so that you can buy those independent of the levels. So what other stuff has he got? So he's got heroic armor for Bjornings, heroic gear, cosmetic armor. Let's have a look at some of these pieces then. So Grey Mountain Elite. There we go. So you can. There's loads of nice dwarven style cosmetics. I don't know if they necessarily look great on other races, but I can imagine some of the dwarves looking pretty cool in some of this gear as well. Failing which, obviously, you still have all the cloaks and whatnots, hooded, non-hooded variants, all sorts of bits and pieces, really. Some different cloaks. So yeah, some different ones. This one's more like a leathery, woolen, padded sort of armour, if you don't like the fully armoured look. So let's carry on then, have a look what we can see upstairs. We're going to get more quests being bestowed to us. So I assume we can just keep going upstairs all the time and we'll work our way up the hill further into the city itself. But it does look pretty cool. I do like the blue and gold. It does give it a very unique look. So there's dragons inside the city as well. So I don't know if these dragons are meant to have died recently. If they died recently, they should have a bit more flesh on them, you'd think. But at the same time, if they died ages ago, why have the dwarves left it there? Unless they like it to basically prove that we've killed dragons and we're cool. Who knows? So if we carry on going upstairs, up we go, and that tower looks a bit wonky to me, doesn't it? It looks like it's slanting to the right a bit, like it's going to fall off the mountain. Hopefully not, because whichever dwarf lord is living up there is probably not going to be happy. So we can keep going up. Actually, maybe we can get all the way up the very top. And maybe if there's not necessarily any NPCs or any quests up the top, maybe we're going to have some kind of treasure cache or something to that effect that we can get. So we go, frozen pages. So we are going to have pages inside the Grey Mountains region. We did have some rusty pages in the Iron Hills region, so it stands to reason we'd have pages in both regions. There we go. We've got a thing we can use to get to the Steel Keep, or a flag we can use to go to the Storm Wall or to the Glimmer Deep. Interesting. I don't really want to click these. I don't know if these are going to be in live or whether this is just to facilitate people moving around easier on the test servers. But it's just a quick way to get to either the Glimmer Deep, which is some cave, probably their mines to the northwest, I would imagine, by the sounds of it. Glimmer Deep, somewhere you're going to go deep and mine glimmery things. Steel Keep, I don't know what that is. I would have thought it was maybe this place, but we wouldn't need a flag here if that is the Steel Keep. And obviously Stormwall is the place we were at with all the nasty dragons. So let's carry on going upstairs then. So this does look pretty cool, doesn't it? That is a pretty nice looking place. That's pretty funky. So upstairs we go then. Presumably this is going to be the entrance to their throne room or equivalent kind of thing. Their Great Hall or something. That one's just called Zelruka rather than Zelruka Dwarf. I assume that's not his name though. There we go. So we have a Vault Keeper, healers, ovens, crafting areas on the entrance bit. Okay, so it's definitely going to be our big quest hub. But we can't actually do anything here because the stairs are broken, which is interesting. So this is literally just like a little indoor craft hub then. Because there's nowhere else it seems we can go inside. Interesting. I thought we'd have a bit more. Dragons? Even dragons pale compared to that from which we fled. Oh? What did you flee, Master Dwarf? And how bad could it possibly be? I guess we're going to find out as part of the questing. So then, if we mount up, I don't think we can go further west. Well, at least if we can go west, it's going to take us back downstairs. So I think we'll probably cheat our way across to one of the other regions. So, it does seem that there is a second entrance based on this map. That there is going to be a west gate. But there doesn't seem to be anything on the west side of town. Whereas obviously all the interesting things, the Stable Master, the Bounties, etc. on the east side of town by the east gate. So let's use one of these magic maps. And take ourselves to a Glimmer Deep. We're not allowed to use it. Maybe it is something that will be on live then. Maybe it's a permanent thing once you've earned the reputation of the dwarves. You can go to those various places. So I'm going to carry on my journey then, and I'll pick up once we see something else of interest. Okay, so we're back then, and I can actually confirm now that the western side of this town is pretty much uninhabited. It's been slightly overrun by some drakes and dragonettes. There are some dwarves sort of wandering around though, a couple of NPCs, some of them do also offer quests, but there's some dwarven surveyors probably looking to fortify that area of the city again before bad things sneak their way into the city. So the area we're now in now is the Thornholt, which is where the wood for the tier 12 crafting gets its name from, because it's Thornholt branches. As we can see, there are these big tall trees that don't seem to have very wide branches. But this seems to be around a bit of a lake, which is coming down from the north. So there are two ways we can go. We can either go north of the lake, which takes us north up to the Glimmer Deep, which is where we're headed now. Or we can head south via Oinsbridge, which is presumably named after the dwarf Oin. So if we head north up here, what do we have? We have a Gundabad miner, so a goblin from Mount Gundabad. Which is also in the Grey Mountains, but on the very western edge, where the Grey Mountains meet the White Mountains, which is where you know, the Misty Mountains, Moria, all that kind of stuff is underneath those areas. Oh Jesus! I nearly went off the edge there. I saw the bridge, saw the wood bridge, and then just completely missed both of them almost. Now, interesting. This looks like a huge Ironfold Skarn deposit. But something else that was interesting in this region earlier is that we saw rocks like that, but it had like gold veins inside them, which seemed a bit weird, because if you've got a massive rock that's like the size of a bus next to the road, and it's quite clearly got loads of gold veins inside it, you'd think the dwarves would have quite happily mined that a long time ago. Well, there we go, there's another frozen page up this way. So if this is their mine then, there we go, Discovery Glimmer Deep. There's a lot of mobs here that if I kill them will give me a quest. So have the goblins and orcs taken over this mine, which presumably the dwarves are not happy about. Again, we've got some of this clawmark writing like we saw at Stormwall, so maybe this is a plot thing. Maybe this is something which follows on. Oh no, it's the Lost Lore. Interesting. Okay, so we have to find all the claw writing as part of our Lost Lore. Interesting way of doing it. So this is a huge interior space. So we seem to have some sort of canyon down the middle. We've got various paths which could be tracks for minecarts. We'll have to see what we can do. Now we can mount out with a goat, but not with a horse. Stands to reason. We've got some NPCs which can be killed and will give us quest starting things. We've got a couple of pop-up auto-bestowed quests as well. I guess we're just going to follow some of these paths and hope they don't lead us into a dead end, because there's obviously quite a few mobs around in this place. There's quite a lot of red dots on the map as well, so this is going to be quite a dense area for mobs, it seems. There are moving minecarts. You can't get run over by them, sadly. I did try that in the Iron Hills region with some of those moving minecarts. That looks like a broken bridge, which is not good. So we can't cross this bridge. Maybe we can cross the bridge to the west of it. We've got a Blogmail slave. So when the Blogmail orcs the... Oh, Jesus. I'm just stunned and there was no way out of that. The Blogmail... When they from the North Downs, which is interesting. He's far from home. We're on Bullroar, so I'll use the Mithril to revive. It's fine. Alright, carry on sneaking around here. Can we cross the second bridge? That's what I want to know. But it's quite a funky little cave with all these glowy purple bits. We've got some bats. I don't know if you guys saw when we entered, when we were initially trying to start our run of the gauntlet, but there were some like bat particle effects to like swirl around us, which is pretty cool. So it seems we can't actually cross to the north side, which is interesting because that seems to be the only two places that we're supposed to be able to cross, unless there's some secret way around the edges. Maybe, who knows. We need to weaken scaffolding in this place, apparently. Well, that looks like a very big, deep, dark hole, so I don't think we're going to fall inside there then. Yeah, there's got to be something we can do over on the north bit. Maybe it could be like a quest instance where we get back across and we have to help some dwarves or something. Because it would be unusual for them to create this amount of space and not have a use for it. So I think we'll head back outside then. I don't know if we can go further up this valley to get to Thrumfall, but we'll see if we can get somewhere over there. Otherwise we'll have to head back south. Okay, so we're back further south then, and we're going through the Thornholt. So I figured I'll just record a bit as we're making our way through the region, because it's different to a lot of the woods that we've seen previously with these tall, narrow trees, which is pretty cool. I haven't seen any particularly new mobs in this area though. I've seen a couple of wolverines around. We've got angry bees as well, but certainly no looking new mob types. What's chasing me? Angry bees, not the bees. So we are heading westwards now, which is going to take us down past Oinsbridge, which one would hope is going to be an interesting looking bridge at the very least. We have actually a Torogrim Elder. Okay, so we've got some more wood trolls in this area. Up to no good, one would assume. And some wolves. Angry bees. Okay, so this would be Oinsbridge over here. Oinsbane. So Oin was one of Forin's company that set out to retake Erebor. So if you're not familiar with him, if you've watched the movies at least, he's the one that's kind of like the doctor guy with the... he's a bit deaf in one ear, so he uses that hearing trumpet thing. But supposedly, because he was so good at doctoring and coming up with these little tinctures and you know, potions and stuff, that's allegedly where the word ointment comes from in Middle-earth. Because he would come up with these little ointments that would be used for healing. So we've got some wolverines, which seem to have some sort of quest that they could theoretically offer me. Apparently we've already gone over the bridge. That would be this bit here then. Just can't see too well. There we go. So there's a bit of a small waterfall there. That's the lake to the north. There's a dwarf statue on the island in the middle of that lake over here. I would not be surprised if there is some kind of treasure cache or dwarf marking or something on that island, so you guys might want to check that out when you're exploring. Because there's almost always is something on islands in the middle of lakes if previous regions have told us anything. So let's just dismiss this. So carrying on westwards then. This will take us all the way over to Rushgate, which leads to the Bjorning lands. So this is somewhere that's not in-game at the moment. If you roll a Bjorning character, you will start in the Vales of Anduin at Beorn's Lodge. But that's the only part of that area that is in the game at the moment. But presumably we will go there at some point. If we're lucky, we might even get it next year. It might be one of the sooner rather than later regions. But if we zoom out to the map here, and hopefully don't ride over a cliff. So let's just stop a minute, because otherwise I'm going to crash. So we've gone north into Ered Mithrin, the Grey Mountains over here, and we've also been east into the Iron Hills over here.
Northern Mirkwood we've obviously got already, but there's this big gap here where we've got the Vales of Anduin, Gladden Fields, the Beyonding Lands, the Upper Anduin, and Mount Gundabad, which is obviously a bad region. So you could easily get a couple of regions out of that space. And I could quite happily see us going through some of these regions and then finishing up at Mount Gundabad, where there's going to be some sort of big bad going on. But the Gladden Fields, there is a way up to the Gladden Fields from the northeastern border of Laurelin. From somewhere, I think it's like over here or something. Unless it's a bit further south. But no, I think it is somewhere around here. But that's always been blocked off, and we've never gone up that way. But we'll have to see. They do want to reconnect that so it's one continuous landscape, as always. They like filling in the blanks, and they've promised that we can expect that at some point. So we'll have to see what they do. But the other place that is up here is Fikil Gundu, which has a interior map, it seems. But we shouldn't be able to get through to the Beyonding Lands. There'll be some sort of reason why we can't. So the road's blocked to some landfall, or the gate's closed, or something to that effect. So there we go. So there is a pretty cool frozen looking fortress up to the north. So I assume we can't go anywhere to the west. But let's just go have a closer look at the Rush Gate. Okay, so we're at Rushgate then, and we can see that the bridge heading west has been broken, and there's a nasty drop down below us, so we can't actually cross the ravine. So presumably at some point we're going to rebuild this bridge so we can access those areas once we get there. But as with other parts of the region, we've kind of got this nice blue and gold architecture. Obviously this gate has fallen into a slight bit of a ruin though. It's seen better days, shall we say. So, for our last little bit of our region exploration, we're going to head up here then to Fikil Gundu. Okay, so we've moved up a bit further towards Fikil Gundu, which is this big blue fortress in the background. But the minute we can see, obviously, we've got some more Dwarven architecture before we get there. It's like a big fortress gate. It seems to me there's lots of these guarding against the Grey Mountains to the north. So I don't know whether these were built as walls to keep nasty things out from the north to stop them coming down from the mountains. Because we've seen that both in this region over here, to stop things coming down allegedly from Fikil Gundu. We've seen the storm wall defending to the north there. So yeah, it seems like they're kind of like blocking things from coming down from the north. But we'll have to see how much further we can get. The road does seem to extend up to the main fortress itself. Oh, there we go. So that is the Steel Keep that we had the horn that we could travel to, which seems to be a large inside area. So let's see how much further we can get down this road. Okay, so we're a bit further along into a place known as the Grey Rack, which is this this passageway up to Fikil Gundu, and we can see we have a dwarf wight, which is something completely new, and they don't seem to like the cold drakes because he's fighting a cold drake in the background over there. We've got some more dragon corpses. We'll see as well, once we get to this point, the architecture has changed completely. It's this kind of like blue frozen ice fortress kind of style, which is interesting because it would imply that it was built by different people. It doesn't seem to be a case of it's just the same normal architecture that's now covered in ice, if loads of ice creatures have taken over it. We've got a rust-stained writing over there that probably starts a quest. Well, you have to ignore these guys, keep on running, we'll see how far we get. We might have to enter stealth at some point. But yeah, it seems we can get all the way up the top here. So it's still definitely Dwarven architecture. You can tell by obviously the shapes and the emblems and the dwarf statue, which really gives it away. But it would be unlikely that this was built by dwarf wights. So are they perhaps a different group of dwarves from back in the day? Fikil Gundu, the Steel Keep. So there we go. So that's the main entrance up here. I have to ignore these dwarven wights. Oh god, I'm pretty close to death. Time to stealth. But some things do some pretty impressive critical hits in this new area. Probably just some changes with the damage calculations. The crits do seem to hurt considerably more than they probably should. There we go. We have a dragon skeleton frozen in the lake down below, which is pretty cool. So there's a dragon fighting a foul spirit, because why not? But we can go inside Fickle Gundu now, the Steel Keep. My level is too low. I'm not allowed. Damn it. We'll have to see if we can get level 120 and come back here. But I did some researching as well between recording some of these clips, and I've discovered the areas that we can't actually get into. So there is an instance inside Glimmerdeep, which probably is going to involve us doing things on the back half of this map, I would guess, since we couldn't access it as part of the landscape. There's a second instance inside Fickle Gundu, the Steel Keep, and there's a third instance at Thrumfall, the Caverns of Thrumfall, which is the other area we couldn't get to, and the raid is going to be the Anvil, but I can't remember the full name of the raid. It might be like the Anvil of Winterstiff or something like that. But the raid, as I understand it, won't be coming immediately following the update. But we should have the other 3 instances live, if not immediately with the update, then soon after. The raid will definitely come a bit later on. But as I understand it, we're going to have Tier 1 and Tier 2 of the instances available whenever they launch. Tier 3 could be delayed a bit, but the new Tier 3 essentially replaces the old Tier 2 challenge modes that you're going to get inside the instances. So that will be where you're going to get your best tier loot. But I can't remember what the group sizes are off the top of my head. I think was it 2 3-mans and a 6-man? And I don't know which one's which. And obviously the raid itself will be a 12-man raid when that comes out. But yeah, I think these are 2 interesting regions that we're getting with this update: the Iron Hills and Ered Mithrin, the Grey Mountains. 2 completely different characters to both of these regions. Obviously, they're both dwarven regions, so we've got more places where dwarves live, just to diversify the landscape a bit. And they seem to have all their different various quest lines as well, so we have to find out what the different quest lines are in this region, because it seems to imply that we'll be helping different dwarf groups with their various issues in various places. But yeah, I'll be interested to hear what you guys think of this region. Let me know if you're interested in having a walk around here yourself once the update goes live, if you're looking forward to the update, or if you're worried about anything. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and until the next time, I will see you guys later.